From Mexico, far west to far east, and the first Japanese Grand Prix for a decade using the Suzuka circuit. For Piquet, this race was crucial. His third world title was tantalizingly close. For Mansell, it was do or die. To keep his title hopes alive, he simply had to win. But it was Friday practice that brought the shock of the weekend and spelled a premature end to the championship battle. Nigel Mansell was going for pole when, in the curves behind the pits, he lost his Williams-Honda. The tremendous impact did the damage. Mansell was in agony in the cockpit. He released the wheel but couldn't get out. As Frank Williams waited anxiously for news in the pits, the marshals attended to Mansell, who was grimacing with pain. And in this thoroughly unsatisfactory and melancholy way, Nelson Piquet became champion. What happened was that Mansell had clipped a curb on the previous curve. The car ran wide coming out and got into the dust on the outside. It spun at once, went backwards into a tire barrier, and flipped into the air. Mansell's crash landing produced some internal bruising. His season, at any rate, was over. And already Piquet was pointing out that Nigel's misfortune wasn't all that had won him the title.
I don't win today the championship, and I don't win because Nigel stopped. I win because I'm 12 points in the lead. It's still two races to go. And I win because I collect a lot of points this year. I was very consistent, and everything apart, I had a lot of problems. Everything worked well for me.
On Honda's home territory, to their chagrin, it was the Ferrari of Gerhard Berger that took pole position. Outgoing champion Alain Prost joined him on the front row, just half a second slower. And Thierry Boutsen, who had pole for much of the final session, had to be content with third fastest. To underline Honda's embarrassment, their best car was Nelson Piquet's Williams, a lowly fifth. Ayrton Senna could only manage seventh after various practice problems, but local knowledge helped his Lotus teammate Satoru Nakajima up to 12th, which was much appreciated by the home fans. Even as late in the season as this, there was a new face. Roberto Moreno had taken over Pascal Fabre's AGS. The championship might be settled, but for the huge Japanese crowd, Formula One was an enthralling new experience.
This time, Berger got his start right, unlike teammate Alboreto, who virtually stalled. Somehow, everyone got round him, but further back, Alio cannoned off Palmer into the wall. Prost was instantly on the attack, but Berger wasn't having it. Boutsen was already up to third. And back on the grid, Alio, after the shortest Grand Prix this year, was out of his car. Round the demanding Suzuka track went the high-speed queue, led by Berger's Ferrari and Prost's McLaren. Behind third man Boutsen, it was Senna, Piquet, Fabi, Johansson, Patrese and De Cesaris, with Nakajima in a splendid 10th. Palmer's Tyrrell was the first non-turbo, ahead of Capelli, and Michele Alboreto was last. So Ferrari last, Ferrari first, and only Prost looked threatening. With memories of Portugal, Berger was going all out to pull clear. But what he didn't know was that Prost was already in trouble. With cruel luck, somewhere the McLaren had picked up a puncture. And at once, Boutsen, Senna, Piquet and the rest were going past. It was a long way to the pits, and the McLaren's wheel and tyre would look pretty second-hand by the time Prost got there. Boutsen's second place didn't last long. With the Benetton losing power, Senna went through to second, Piquet to third, and then Johansson demoted the Belgian to fifth. So now, a long way behind the leading Ferrari, we did have a Honda battle. Lotus versus Williams for second. And further back, among the midfield battles, this was non-turbo leader Capelli tangling with Arnoux, which was to put the Italian out. Berger, with a comfortable lead, didn't want to lose time in his routine stop, and the Ferrari crew did him proud. Less than 7 seconds. Still Stefan Johansson had made his tyre stop early and was now second ahead of Senna, upholding McLaren fortunes while Alain Prost drove hard but out of the points. And the new world champion, Nelson Piquet, was in the pits with terminal and rather messy engine maladies. The Ferrari crew didn't dare stop worrying until their man was in sight at the end of his final lap, coming home to score Maranello's first win for over 2 years. But once the checkered flag had waved, in the Ferrari pit, the celebrations began. And Honda honour was somewhat redeemed by Senna snatching second place from Johansson virtually at the final corner. The other Honda finisher, local hero Satoru Nakajima, was also in the points, in 6th place.
So Ferrari had done it at last, their first win for over 2 years, after a flawless drive by Berger. And Ayrton Senna was now only 4 points behind the absent Mansell. So in the championship, there was still a battle for second place. But Piquet had his 3rd world title. And as some sort of British compensation for Mansell's unerring misery, Jonathan Palmer could now not be beaten for the Jim Clark